Hey, poker people, it's Sky Matsuhashi, and this is the Smart Poker Study Podcast. I hope you didn't miss episode 125, in which I discussed the all-important concept of consider before you click. I also gave you the 11 HUD stats you must use, no excuses. Hey, poker people. Thanks for lending me your ears once again this fine Sunday morning. And thanks for sharing the show as well. I'm sure you noticed a new musical intro here. I'm just switching things up and trying new songs to see if any of them stick. And so, like I said, it's a gorgeous Sunday here in Fresno, and this is the first of 7 daily episodes in a row. The last time I did daily episodes was way back at the beginning of 2016, and I did that for 30 days in a row. And that was a killer challenge to do, so 7 days right now, it'll be a walk in the park for me for sure. I will explain why I'm doing 7 days in a row in just a little bit, but first, let's get to one of your study-related questions. Please visit the show notes page for everything I discussed today, along with screenshots and links at www.smartpokerstudy.com/pod126. And while you're there, sign up for the weekly boost for exclusive poker strategy direct to that inbox. Alrighty, let's do this. Gambate!
And now for our feature presentation.
So when you join my weekly boost newsletter, I send out a series of emails. One of them asks you for one area that you know you need work on. I respond back to every one of these with ways the sender can work on this specific area. Both of today's questions are in response to that email, and here's the first. Brian S. gave a very simple response by just saying, hand reading. That was the one area that he wanted to work on, hand reading. Alrighty, well, thank you for that response, Brian. I understand why you want to improve your handwriting skills. It is super important, but it really is not learned easily. I'm constantly working on it both off and on the tables. What you've got to do is go through a few hands every day and just practice. You've got to use Flopzilla and make sure you're assigning a pre-flop range to the opponent first. Then you narrow that range based on their actions and their bet sizing street by street. Hard work and daily hand-reading practice is really the only way you're going to add the skill to your arsenal. There's no shortcuts to it. Hard work, practice, put that effort in. And all that practice that you do off the tables, it's going to start to work its way into your on-the-felt play as well. But you can speed up this process by actively working on hand-reading within the sessions that you play, whether it's live or online. Either way, you can work on it. If you're playing online, I recommend a focus session every few days where you concentrate on actively hand-reading while playing just one or at most 2 tables. Of course, you could do this live as well, seeing as how you're only playing one table live anyway. To help you out further, here's some other resources for hand-reading strategies. The first is back in episode 66. I gave you my process for hand-reading, so check out that episode at smartpokerstudy.com/pod66. And probably the best resource for you is the Hand Reading Lab, and that was created by Splitsuit. It's a full course with over 30 videos in it. It is a pretty hefty cost, though, but it's absolutely worth it. I love this program. I learned so much from the Hand Reading Lab. Go to splitsuit.com/HRL and use offer code SMART, and you'll get a set of 3-bet bonus videos. And the third additional way to help you practice hand reading is getting Splitsuit's Poker Workbook, Hand Reading for Live Players. That's the name of it right there. You can get it on Amazon, and there's a link to it in the show notes. And the fourth resource for you, if you're looking for a slightly different way to hand read, and this can just inform your hand reading skills in general too, you want to check out episode 41 of my podcast in smartpokerstudy.com/pod41. And in that episode, I discussed Andrew Brokos' style of hand reading. A lot of you might know him. He's one of the hosts on the Thinking Poker podcast. Really knows his stuff. Really good poker player, tournament and cash game player. And his own type of hand reading, that was my first introduction to hand reading. I started with that. It was a really great place to start. I do enjoy the Hand Reading Lab a little bit more from Splitsuit, but Andrew Brokos' hand reading is a great way to go as well. Alrighty, good luck, Brian, and to all of you other aspiring hand readers out there. Alrighty, so there are 2 reasons for these 7 days of podcasts. The first reason is that my new book, How to Study Poker Volume 1, is coming out on the 29th of March, and I wanted to kick that off right by giving you some extra study value this week. When it comes out, you'll be able to find the book on Amazon and Audible on the 29th. And I'll also announce it on the podcast and in my Weekly Boost newsletter when it hits the virtual shelves. And the second reason for the 7 days of podcasts is that I'm starting a 28-day challenge for myself. I'm going to call it the 28 Days of Poker Study Challenge, and this will actually become volume 2 of my book. So beginning on Sunday, April 2nd, I'm going to stream my daily study sessions for 28 days in a row, and I'll be streaming it via Twitch. I'm going to show you how I set goals, plan my week of study, then how I actually perform my studies. I'll be using tons of study techniques from the book, and it'll all be streamed for you to watch and learn along with me. I'll also be streaming my play on ACR each day during the challenge. So you'll see me in the mornings working on strengthening my game. Then you'll see me later in the day putting my skills to use on the virtual felt. It is going to be fun. I really hope that you join me for this journey here. Please visit a special page that I've set up for this challenge. Go to www.smartpokerstudy.com/28days. That's the number 28 days, and go there to get more details and to sign up to receive special emails from me, and the emails will contain my study plans, the poker content that I'm going to be learning from, and all the lessons and skills I ingrain into my game. This will all be part of volume 2, and you can get it for free just for following my challenge. Alrighty, back to class, poker people. Question number 2. This one's from Tyler, and what he said was, in response to that email I sent out, what's your one biggest issue right now? He said, I guess really the biggest thing I need help on is bankroll management, but there's no help to that. I just got to stop being stupid and not play big games. I had been doing good with it, but something slipped Wednesday, and I blew a lot of money and just went on full-blown tilt session. I went on a full-blown tilt session. It was real bad, and I kicked myself in the ass for it the next day. Alrighty, well, thanks for that email, Tyler. And actually, there is plenty of help for bankroll issues and for tilt, of course. But first off here, what I want you to do is commit to good bankroll management. And when I say commit, I really do mean it. You've got to commit. It sounds like you suffer from desperation tilt, and this causes people to chase their losses by buying into bigger games. I want you to commit to not letting your desperation get the better of you. I'll get more into tilt in just a little bit here, but getting back to just bankroll management, start with a simple target of 100 times the buy-in. You could be more or less conservative if you wish, but start here and see how that works for you. I'm assuming you're an online player, but if you're a live player, you'll have to go quite a bit less, but still, stick to those bankroll rules. So let's say, online player, you have $400 in your roll. This is good for 121 tournaments at the $3.30 buy-in if you lose every single one. Of course, you'll be up and down based on your tournament cashes. As soon as you dip below the $330 mark, remember, starting at $400, if you go below $330, which is 100 buy-ins exactly, drop down in stakes until you're back up above $330. This will require some mental fortitude on your part, but as soon as you get used to this, you'll never bust a roll again. The second tip I have for you is I want you to utilize the tournament or the cash game filters on your poker site. Set the filters to only the level that you can afford to play at, dictated by the bankroll requirements I just talked about. Most online poker sites have this option to control the buy-in levels, to control the buy-in levels that are displayed on your lobby screen. If you don't see the bigger games, you'll be less likely to play in them. And the third piece of advice for you today, I want you to listen to some mental game podcasts and read a couple books here. The first one is the Mental Game of Poker podcast, and you can find it on iTunes. Jared Tendler, the author of the Mental Game of Poker, and he's the one who does the podcast. He's not so frequent with episodes now, but there's plenty of back episodes that you can listen to, and like I said, find it in iTunes. The next podcast is the Mindset Advantage podcast, and that can be found on iTunes as well. And this is a good one, even though Dr. Cardner recently left the podcast. She left to do other things. Talon Chick, who is a PokerStars Team Online Pro, she came in and she's now hosting or co-hosting with Elliot Rowe. And they do a super good job together talking about just poker in general and then the mental side of poker as well. And get that on iTunes. The next one I want you to, this is a book. I want you to read The Mental Game of Poker by Jared Tendler. And I always recommend this one. Get it on Amazon. Go through the show notes, please, to support the show. Click through my Amazon link, that kind of thing. The other book that I'd recommend is Peak Poker Performance by Dr. Patricia Cardner. I'm halfway through it right now. It's a very good book, and I recommend it as well. She talks about a lot of the same stuff that Jared Tendler talks about in the mental game of poker, but she has her own spin on it. Plus, she has so many other things that she discusses. Both of the books really work well together to help you with your mental game. And once again, get it through the show notes link through my Amazon affiliate to support the show. All right, good luck, Tyler, with dealing with your bankroll issues and tilt issues. Challenge! Here's my challenge to you for this episode. Start your hand reading practice by running through one hand per day for a full month. And do it using your database and Flopzilla, of course. Listen to my Steps to Hand Reading podcast, and that was episode 66. Listen to that to learn my step-by-step hand reading process. Now it's your turn to take action and do something positive for your poker game.
Now get it on.
Thank you so much for listening today. This episode isn't complete until you head to the show notes page at www.smartpokerstudy.com/pod126 for screenshots and links to everything discussed today, and to find ways in which you can support the podcast. Make sure you join me for my 28 days of poker study journey. You can join me by going to smartpokerstudy.com/28days. That's 28 days, and go there to learn more. Alrighty, poker people, if you can type out the words Smart Poker Study, you can find me on Twitter, Facebook, Twitch, and YouTube, or send me an email, sky@smartpokerstudy.com. Got just a few shout-outs today. Craig D. purchased my Smart HUD. Thank you very much, Craig. I sent you that bonus email with all those links to different Smart HUD and Poker Tracker 4 videos. Hope you get a lot of use out of that. Eric Strahan supported me on Patreon, and yesterday I held the How to Study Poker webinar, so I've got to thank everybody who attended: Paul Gaiotti, Steve, Mark Warner of ExceptionalPoker.com, Paul, Bob, Randy, Philippe Verhelst, Adam Wandeler. Thank you very much for your support, everybody. And Dennis Peterson, thank you very much for an awesome Card Runners EV presentation within the webinar. I really appreciate it, and I think everybody learned a ton about what CREV can do for us. So if you want to support the show like these super fine poker peeps, visit the show notes for everything that I discussed today. Alrighty, poker people, tomorrow I'll be answering 2 more of your questions, so keep them coming in. Word of mouth is the best advertising, so thank you very much for sharing the show with other poker people. Your sharing and caring is what helps us grow. Until next time, study smart, play much, and make your next session the best one yet.